The grand hall of the Galactic Peace Conference sparkled under the light of 3 moons, but nothing shone brighter than Princess Ira herself. Like all members of the Crystal Empire, her translucent skin naturally gave off a soft blue glow. Tonight, however, was different. Tonight, she was practically radiating. "Your Highness, please try to contain your luminescence," whispered her advisor Tom, his own crystalline features dimmed with concern. "The other delegates are starting to stare." Ira couldn't help it. For the first time in her life, she felt truly alive. The cause of her excitement stood just across the room, a human diplomat named James, Earth's first representative to the conference. While other aliens saw just another soft-skinned deathworlder in a formal suit, Ira saw something magical. "The electromagnetic field, Tom," she breathed, her glow pulsing with each word. "Have you ever seen anything like it?" The crystal people had evolved to sense electromagnetic fields as naturally as humans could see colors. Most species gave off simple, steady patterns, like watching a calm pond. But humans were different. James's electromagnetic field danced and swirled like a living aurora. Every movement, every emotion created new patterns that made Ira's sensors tingle. When he laughed at another delegate's joke, his field sparkled with tiny bursts of energy. When he focused on serious diplomatic talks, it formed complex, steady waves that reminded her of ancient Crystal Empire art. "Your Highness," Tom tried again, "perhaps we should greet the Moss Federation representatives first. They've been waiting." "No," Ira said firmly, straightening her ceremonial crown. "Protocol says we greet new members first. And Earth is very new indeed." She glided across the floor, leaving a trail of excited sparkles in her wake. Other delegates quickly moved aside, creating a clear path between her and James. The human noticed the movement and turned to face her, offering a small bow that sent fascinating ripples through his electromagnetic field. "Princess Ira of the Crystal Empire," he said, his voice carrying unusual electrical patterns that made her sensors buzz pleasantly. "It's an honor to meet you." "The honor," she said, glowing even brighter, "is entirely mine. Welcome to the galactic community." James smiled, and the surge of electromagnetic activity nearly overwhelmed her sensors. His whole field lit up like a stellar nursery, complex patterns cascading in ways she'd never seen before. She must have swayed slightly because Tom quickly stepped forward to steady her. "Are you all right, Your Highness?" James asked, genuine concern creating new protective patterns in his field. "I've been told human electromagnetic signatures can be strong for some species." "Strong?" Ira laughed, her own glow synchronizing unconsciously with his field's rhythm. "They're beautiful. Your species gives off the most complex patterns I've ever encountered. Each emotion creates unique signatures. It's like watching a symphony of light." James blushed, and the resulting electromagnetic flutter made several nearby crystal people turn their heads in surprise. "That's very kind of you to say, Princess. Though I admit, your people's bioluminescence is equally fascinating to us. We don't often meet species who can literally light up a room." They shared a laugh, and for a moment, their electromagnetic fields seemed to dance together. Tom watched with growing alarm as other delegates began to whisper among themselves. It wasn't proper for a Crystal Empire princess to show such obvious interest in an alien species, much less a deathworlder. But Ira didn't care about proper. She had spent her whole life studying electromagnetic patterns, and here was something entirely new. Something that challenged everything her people thought they knew about biological energy fields. "Would you tell me more about Earth?" she asked eagerly. "Our scientists have so many questions about human biology." "I'd be happy to," James replied, his field showing patterns of genuine pleasure at her interest. "Though I should warn you, I'm a diplomat, not a scientist. My knowledge of human electromagnetic fields is pretty basic." "That's perfectly fine," Ira said, her glow warming to a gentle golden hue. "Sometimes the best discoveries come from simple conversations." Tom sighed in resignation. He could already tell this conference was going to be very different from all the others. And judging by the way the princess's light pulsed in harmony with the human's electromagnetic field, things in the Crystal Empire were about to change forever. 3 weeks after the Galactic Peace Conference, the Crystal Empire's royal palace buzzed with unusual activity. Earth had appointed James as their first official ambassador, and today was his arrival ceremony. Princess Ira found herself checking her glow for the 5th time in an hour. "Your Highness," Tom said, watching her adjust her ceremonial robes again, "please remember the traditional greeting protocols. No matter how interesting the human's electromagnetic field may be." "I know the protocols, Tom," Ira replied, though her increasing brightness betrayed her excitement. "Touch crystals, maintain formal distance, exchange energy signatures. I've done this hundreds of times." What she didn't say was that none of those previous greetings had involved a human's wild electromagnetic patterns. The great crystal doors opened, and James entered with his small human delegation. He wore their formal Earth diplomatic uniform, but what caught Ira's attention was how his electromagnetic field had changed. It was even more complex now, showing signs of having adapted to the crystal environment. The traditional greeting ceremony began. One by one, Crystal Empire officials approached, touching their ceremonial crystals to share energy signatures. Everything went smoothly until it was James's turn. He stepped forward, holding his ceremonial crystal carefully. But as he moved closer to the first Crystal Empire official, something unexpected happened. The human's natural electromagnetic field interfered with the energy exchange, causing both crystals to pulse with bright purple light. Gasps filled the hall. In thousands of years of Crystal Empire history, no one had ever seen ceremonial crystals react that way. "I'm so sorry," James said quickly, his electromagnetic field showing genuine distress. "Did I do something wrong?" No, Ira stepped in, moving closer despite Tom's quiet protest. "It's fascinating. Your electromagnetic field. It's actually strengthening the crystal's natural properties. This is unprecedented." The other Crystal Empire officials murmured among themselves. Some sounded worried, others curious. But Ira couldn't take her eyes off the way James's field rippled and danced around the still glowing crystal. "Perhaps," she suggested, her own glow brightening to match his field's intensity, "we should modify the traditional greeting for our human friends. Their unique biology clearly requires a different approach." Tom looked horrified. "Your Highness, the greeting ceremony has remained unchanged for 12 generations. Then it's about time for an update, don't you think?" Ira turned to James. "Ambassador, would you be willing to help us develop a new protocol? One that takes advantage of human electromagnetic properties rather than trying to suppress them." James's field lit up with what Ira had learned to recognize as pleasure and interest. "I'd be honored, Princess, though I hope this won't cause problems with your traditions." "Sometimes traditions need to grow," she said firmly, "just like relationships between worlds." Over the next hour, they experimented with different distances and crystal configurations. They discovered that if humans stood exactly 3 steps away and held the ceremonial crystals at a slight angle, their electromagnetic field created beautiful, stable patterns instead of interference. The other officials gradually grew more enthusiastic as they watched the experiments. Even Tom had to admit that the modified ceremony looked more impressive than the traditional version. "Your field has changed since we first met," Ira said to James during a quiet moment. "It's more harmonious with our environment now." James nodded. "Our scientists say humans can unconsciously adapt our electromagnetic output to match our surroundings. I've been practicing, actually, trying to learn better control." His admission made her glow pulse brightly. He had been practicing for them, for her people. The thought created warm ripples in her own energy field. "You continue to surprise us, Ambassador," she said softly. "I look forward to learning more about human adaptability. And I look forward to learning more about the Crystal Empire." he replied, his field creating patterns that seemed to reach out toward her glow. "I think we have much to teach each other." Tom watched the exchange with growing concern. The princess's interest in the human ambassador was becoming more obvious by the day, and now, with the modification of sacred greeting ceremonies, he worried about what other changes this human's presence might bring to their carefully ordered world. But looking at how the human's electromagnetic field seemed to dance in perfect harmony with the princess's glow, he had to wonder. Maybe some changes were meant to happen. In the Crystal Empire's main research facility, dozens of scientists huddled around their instruments, all focused on a single screen. The display showed something that had never been seen before, a complete scan of human electromagnetic patterns. Princess Ira stood at the front, her glow pulsing with excitement as she watched the data flow in. Next to her, James sat patiently as various crystal sensors recorded his every movement. "Simply amazing," said Dr. Ray, the head scientist. "Human electromagnetic fields are far more complex than anything in our database. Look at these pattern variations." The screen showed swirling waves of energy that changed with each of James's breaths. When they asked him to think of different emotions, the patterns shifted into entirely new formations. "Try feeling happy," Ira suggested, watching intently. James smiled, thinking of pleasant memories, and the display erupted in a dance of bright, intricate patterns. Several scientists dropped their datapads in surprise. "And now try feeling worried," she added. The patterns immediately shifted, forming tight, protective spirals that pulsed with steady rhythm. The watching scientists frantically recorded everything. "Remarkable," Dr. Ray muttered. "Other species show maybe 5 or 6 distinct electromagnetic patterns, but humans, we've recorded over 50 unique signatures in just one session." Ira moved closer to James, her own glow automatically sensing with his field's rhythm. "And these patterns, they affect our crystals differently than any other species." She held up a small research crystal. As James's field touched it, the crystal began to shine with new colors, creating tiny rainbows in the air. "Our preliminary findings suggest," Dr. Ray said, checking his notes, "that human electromagnetic fields can actually enhance crystal energy by up to 300%. It's like they're natural amplifiers for our technology." James looked surprised. "Is that why my communicator works better here than anywhere else in the galaxy?" "Exactly." Ira beamed, her glow brightening. "Your natural field strengthens our crystal-based technology. It's as if humans and crystal people were meant to work together." Tom, who stood watching from the corner, coughed politely. "Your Highness, perhaps we shouldn't jump to conclusions. These are just preliminary studies." But Ira was already deep in discussion with the scientists, planning more experiments. Her normal royal duties lay forgotten as she immersed herself in the research. Later that day, in her private study, Ira pored over ancient Crystal Empire texts. She had started collecting every piece of information she could find about human biology and culture. "Your Highness," Tom said, entering with a worried look, "the Royal Council is asking questions about all this human research. They say you've missed 3 traditional ceremonies this week." "The ceremonies can wait," Ira replied, not looking up from her studies. "Don't you see how important this is, Tom? Everything we thought we knew about electromagnetic fields needs to be reconsidered." She pointed to her screens, which showed comparisons between human and alien energy patterns. "Look at how unique their signatures are. And when they feel strong emotions." She pulled up a recording of James's happy patterns. "It's like watching a star being born." Tom shifted uncomfortably. Some council members are using phrases like human obsession and unnatural interest. Finally, Ira looked up, her glow dimming slightly. "They're afraid of change, Tom. But change is coming whether they like it or not. Humans aren't just another alien species. They could be the key to advancing our entire civilization. And the fact that you spend so much time with Ambassador James has nothing to do with your enthusiasm." Tom asked carefully. Ira's glow flickered with embarrassment, but she held her ground. James helps us understand human electromagnetic patterns better than any scanner could. His presence here is purely scientific. But even as she said it, she remembered how his field had danced during that morning's experiments, how it had reached out to match her own glow in ways no scanner could measure. There was something more happening here, something beyond science. "The council can question my methods all they want," she said firmly, turning back to her research. "But I won't stop until we understand everything about human electromagnetic capabilities. The future of our people might depend on it." Tom nodded silently and left, but he couldn't help noticing how the princess's glow always shined brightest when she looked at the human's energy patterns on her screen. Science might be her excuse, but he suspected her heart, and her natural crystal resonance, had other ideas. The day Princess Ira had been dreading finally arrived. 5 suitors from the noblest Crystal Empire families stood in the palace's grand hall, their ceremonial robes catching light from the crystal chandeliers above. According to tradition, she was expected to choose one of them as her future partner. "Your Highness," the first suitor said, stepping forward. He touched his ceremonial crystal to hers, sharing his electromagnetic signature. "I am Lord Bright of the Northern Peaks." Ira kept her face polite, but inside she felt nothing. His energy field was boring. Simple waves, basic patterns, nothing like the complex dance of human electromagnetic fields she had grown used to. One by one, the other suitors came forward. Each shared their signature, and each left Ira feeling increasingly frustrated. Their fields were all the same, predictable, unchanging, dull. From his position near the wall, James watched the ceremony with diplomatic politeness, but his electromagnetic field betrayed his emotions, showing patterns of concern that only Ira could properly read. "Well, Your Highness," asked Lord Peak, the head of the Royal Council, "surely one of these fine nobles has caught your interest." Ira's glow dimmed slightly. "They are all very traditional," she said carefully. "Traditional is good," Lord Peak declared. "Traditional is safe. Traditional is what keeps our empire strong." But Ira wasn't listening anymore. Her attention had drifted to James, whose field had just shifted into a beautiful new pattern she'd never seen before. Was that worry, or perhaps protective instinct? "Your Highness," one of the suitors called, bringing her attention back. "Perhaps you'd like to share energy signatures again." "No," Ira said firmly, her glow strengthening with determination. "I thank you all for coming, but I need more time to consider this important decision." The suitors looked shocked. This wasn't how the choosing ceremony was supposed to go. No princess had ever delayed her choice before. "More time," Lord Peak spluttered, his own glow flickering with alarm. "But tradition demands." "Tradition demands I choose wisely," Ira cut in. "And I cannot do that without proper consideration." She gestured to Tom, who quickly stepped forward. "Please show our honored guests to their chambers. We will continue discussions tomorrow." As the confused suitors were led away, Lord Peak moved closer to Ira, lowering his voice. "Your Highness, we all know what this is really about. Your fascination with the human ambassador has not gone unnoticed." Ira's glow pulsed defiantly. "My research into human electromagnetic fields is purely scientific." "Is it?" Lord Peak glanced at James, who was politely pretending not to hear their conversation. "Then why do you glow brightest when he's near? Why do your energy patterns sync with his?" "The entire court has noticed." "Perhaps," Ira suggested coolly, "what they've noticed is progress. Evolution. Change. Change." Lord Peak's voice rose slightly. "Princess, you are the heir to the Crystal Empire. You cannot throw away thousands of years of tradition because one human's electromagnetic field interests you." But looking at James, whose field now showed complex patterns of courage and support, Ira wasn't so sure. What if some traditions needed breaking? What if the future held possibilities no one had considered before? "Lord Peak," she said firmly, "I understand your concerns, But I will not be rushed into a decision that affects not just me, but our entire empire's future. The council will not be pleased, he warned. The council's job is to advise me, not control me, Ira replied, her glow steady and strong. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have research to attend to. She walked away, deliberately passing close to James. As she did, their fields interacted, creating a brief but beautiful display of synchronized energy that made several nearby guards gasp. Lord Peak watched her go, his own glow dark with worry. "This isn't over, Your Highness," he muttered. "Some traditions exist for a reason." But Ira didn't hear him. She was already thinking about her research, about the incredible complexity of human electromagnetic fields, and about how empty the traditional suitors' signatures had felt in comparison. In her heart, she knew she was facing a choice bigger than just marriage. This was about the future of her people, about progress versus tradition, about daring to imagine something new. And watching James's field create yet another beautiful pattern as he returned to his diplomatic duties, she couldn't help but wonder if maybe, just maybe, the best traditions were the ones yet to be created. James stood in his embassy office, staring at the data screen with wide eyes. After months of living among the crystal people, he had finally understood something incredible about human electromagnetic fields. "Ambassador," his assistant called from the door, "Princess Ira is here to see you." James quickly turned to see Ira entering, her glow particularly bright today. But now, thanks to his research, he understood why she glowed that way around him. "Princess," he said, his own electromagnetic field shifting with excitement, "I've discovered something important." "Oh." Ira moved closer, automatically matching her energy pattern to his. "What is it?" "It's about human electromagnetic fields," James said, pulling up his research. "We're not just compatible with your people by accident. Look at these patterns." He showed her a series of scans comparing human and crystal people energy signatures. When humans feel strong emotions, our electromagnetic fields naturally try to match those around us. We're empaths, in our own way. Ira's glow pulsed with surprise. "That's why you've been able to adapt so well to our technology." "Exactly," James nodded. "And there's more. I found your private research about human crystal people compatibility." Ira's glow dimmed slightly with embarrassment. "You weren't supposed to see that." "But I'm glad I did," James said softly. His electromagnetic field created gentle, swirling patterns that made Ira's glow brighten again. "Because it proves what I've felt since I arrived here. Humans and crystal people aren't just diplomatically compatible, we're biologically meant to interact." Before Ira could respond, Tom burst into the room, his glow flickering with panic. "Your Highness, Ambassador, Lord Peak is calling an emergency council meeting. He knows about your research." "What?" Ira's glow flashed with alarm. "How did he?" "Spies in the science department," Tom explained quickly. "He's telling everyone that humans are influencing our people's natural energy patterns. He's trying to force your abdication." James's electromagnetic field instantly shifted to protective patterns. "He can't do that. The princess's research is completely ethical." "It doesn't matter," Tom said. "He's convincing the council that she's been compromised by human electromagnetic influence, that she's no longer fit to rule." Ira stood straighter, her glow steady and determined. "Then we'll have to show them the truth. James, bring your research. All of it." They rushed to the council chamber, where Lord Peak was already speaking to the assembled nobles. Clearly affected by the humans' unnatural fields, he was saying, "Look how she glows around him. This is not natural for our people." "You're wrong," Ira declared, entering the chamber. Her glow was bright and confident as she faced the council. "What's happening is entirely natural. Ambassador, please show them." James stepped forward, letting his electromagnetic field expand naturally. The crystals in the room began to shine brighter, creating beautiful patterns on the walls. My research proves that human electromagnetic fields don't interfere with crystal people biology, he explained. Instead, they enhance it. Our fields naturally try to harmonize with yours. He displayed his data on the Council's main screen. Human empathic abilities allow us to unconsciously match and strengthen your energy patterns. That's why your technology works better around us. Why your crystals shine brighter. Ira moved to stand beside him, and their combined fields created a display so beautiful that several council members gasped. "This isn't corruption," she said firmly. "This is evolution. Progress. Two species discovering they're naturally compatible in ways no one expected." Lord Peak wasn't giving up easily. But tradition. Tradition should guide us, not cage us, Ira interrupted. "James, show them the historical data." James nodded, bringing up more research. "We found evidence that humans and crystal people met before, thousands of years ago. The patterns in your ancient art, they're exact matches for human electromagnetic signatures." The council chamber erupted in surprised murmurs. Even Lord Peak looked shaken. "So you see," Ira concluded, her glow perfectly synchronized with James's field, "this isn't just about me or about tradition. This is about rediscovering a connection our peoples once shared, a connection that could make both our species stronger." The council members looked at each other uncertainly. The truth had emerged, but what would they do with it? As Ira and James stood together, their combined energy patterns painting the chamber in beautiful lights, everyone present knew that nothing would ever be quite the same again. The Great Hall of Ancestors had never been so crowded. Every member of the Crystal Empire's noble families packed the ancient chamber, their combined glow creating a sea of shimmering light. At the center of it all stood Princess Ira, facing the most important moment of her reign. "My people," she began, her voice clear and strong. "Today I stand before you to break thousands of years of tradition. But sometimes breaking tradition is the only way forward." Behind her, James waited quietly, his electromagnetic field radiating steady support. The 5 rejected suitors stood to one side, their faces showing various degrees of disapproval. "I have discovered something in our ancient archives," Ira continued, touching a crystal control. The hall's walls lit up with ancient drawings and texts. These records prove that humans and crystal people once worked together, long ago. Gasps filled the chamber as images appeared showing crystal people and humans standing together, their energy fields combined in familiar patterns. "But that's impossible." Lord Peak shouted from his position among the council members. "Our histories never mentioned humans." Because those records were hidden. Tom stepped forward, holding an ancient crystal tablet. "Hidden by those who feared change, just as some fear it now." Ira nodded to Tom, who activated the tablet. A hologram appeared, showing ancient crystal people working alongside humans, their combined energy fields powering incredible machines and creating beautiful works of art. "Look at what we achieved together." Ira's glow brightened with passion. "Our ancestors knew what we're only rediscovering now, that human electromagnetic fields naturally enhance our own abilities." Lord Peak wasn't done fighting. "Even if this is true, it doesn't change our laws. The heir to the throne must choose a proper Crystal Empire partner." Then perhaps James spoke for the first time, stepping forward. "It's time to change those laws." His electromagnetic field expanded as he moved, causing every crystal in the hall to shine brighter. The assembled nobles murmured in amazement as their own energy patterns began naturally synchronizing with his. "You see," Ira gestured to the display, "this is what we can be together. Not just diplomatic allies, but true partners." The humans' ability to adapt their electromagnetic fields makes them perfect companions for our people. It's unnatural. Lord Peak tried one last time. "The council will never. The council will remember its place." Ira's voice rang out, her glow now blindingly bright. "I am your princess, and I have made my choice. I choose progress. I choose understanding. I choose." She stopped as James's field suddenly pulsed with incredibly complex patterns. The entire hall fell silent, watching in wonder as his electromagnetic signature created designs no one had ever seen before. "I choose to stand with the princess," James declared, his field highlighting every crystal in the room. "Not just as an ambassador, but as someone who believes in the future she sees for both our peoples." The crowd gasped as his field synchronized perfectly with Ira's glow, creating a display that made the ancient recordings pale in comparison. Even the most traditional nobles couldn't deny the beauty of their combined energy. "The old laws," Ira said softly, but her voice carried to every corner, "say nothing about electromagnetic compatibility. They speak only of choosing someone who will strengthen our empire." She turned to face Lord Peak directly. "Tell me, what could strengthen us more than this?" She gestured to where her energy patterns danced with James's, powering the ancient holograms to heights never seen before. The rejected suitors, watching this display, slowly began to nod in understanding. "The princess is right," one of them said suddenly. "No crystal person could create such harmony. This is beyond our traditional abilities." Others in the crowd began to voice agreement. Even some council members were nodding, their own glows brightening in response to the combined energy filling the hall. Lord Peak looked around, seeing his support crumbling. But tradition. "Tradition is not a cage," Ira declared firmly. "It's a foundation to build upon. And today, we begin building something new." She turned to James, their fields merging in a spectacular display that lit up the ancient hall like a newborn star. In that moment, everyone present knew they were witnessing not just the breaking of tradition, but the birth of a new era for both their peoples. 1 year had passed since the day tradition changed in the Crystal Empire. The royal palace gardens bloomed with crystal flowers that shimmered more brightly than ever before, powered by the combined electromagnetic fields of humans and crystal people working together. Princess Ira stood on her favorite balcony, watching a group of human scientists working with Crystal Empire researchers below. Their combined energy signatures created beautiful patterns in the air as they tested new crystal technologies. "Your Highness," Tom approached, his glow now steady and calm when near humans. "The first group of human crystal people students has graduated from the Joint Academy." Ira smiled, her glow brightening with pride. "How did they perform?" "Extraordinarily well," Tom replied, displaying a crystal datapad. "The human students learned to control their electromagnetic fields with incredible precision. And our crystal people," he paused, still amazed by the results, "they developed new abilities we never thought possible." Below in the garden, a young human student demonstrated her newly mastered skill, carefully adjusting her electromagnetic field to help a crystal tree grow in beautiful patterns. Her crystal people classmates' glow pulsed with excitement as they worked together. "And Lord Peak?" Ira asked, though her tone was more amused than concerned now. "Actually," Tom's glow flickered with what might have been humor, "he's become one of our strongest supporters since a human doctor used electromagnetic therapy to heal his chronic crystal fade." The sound of approaching footsteps made Ira's glow pulse happily. She didn't need to turn around to know it was James. His electromagnetic signature was as familiar to her now as her own glow. "The Earth delegation just arrived," James said, moving to stand beside her. Their fields automatically synchronized, creating the beautiful patterns that had become a normal sight in the palace. "They're amazed by our progress." "Our progress," Ira corrected him softly. Everything had changed since they'd discovered the true potential of human crystal people cooperation. New technologies, medical breakthroughs, art forms that had never existed before, all born from the unique compatibility between their species. From the garden came sounds of laughter as more students practiced their skills. A human boy was helping his crystal people friends create a light show, their combined energies painting pictures in the air. "Remember when everyone thought human electromagnetic fields would corrupt our people?" Tom asked, shaking his head at the old fears. "Instead, they made us stronger," Ira replied. She touched a nearby crystal panel, bringing up statistics. Crystal technology efficiency up 400%. Medical treatments revolutionized. Space travel capabilities doubled. And that's just the beginning. James's field shifted with happiness as he watched a group of crystal children playing with human kids, their energies mixing naturally and easily. The next generation won't even remember a time when this wasn't normal. Speaking of the next generation, Tom said carefully, his glow flickering with meaning, the council has officially approved the changes to succession law. Any child of human crystal people parents will be recognized as a legitimate heir. Ira's glow brightened so much that nearby crystals started chiming in response. James's electromagnetic field created complex patterns of joy that made the garden's crystal flowers bloom out of season. A year ago, they wanted to force my abdication for even studying human electromagnetic fields, Ira mused. Now they're planning for human crystal hybrid monarchs. Progress, James said simply, his field harmonizing perfectly with her glow, just like you always believed in. Below them, the garden had become a celebration as students, scientists, and civilians from both species mingled freely. Their combined energy signatures created unprecedented patterns in the air, proof that the best traditions were indeed the ones yet to be created. Your ancestors would be proud, Tom said, watching the scene. You didn't just preserve our people's future, you made it brighter than ever. Ira looked at the thriving garden, at the happy faces of humans and crystal people working together, at the beautiful new world they were building. But most of all, she looked at James, whose electromagnetic field had first shown her that sometimes the wildest changes brought the most wonderful results. Well, she said, her glow synchronizing with his field one more time, creating patterns that would have been impossible a year ago, it turns out some things are meant to drive us wild. And in the garden below, as if in response, every crystal flower bloomed at once, creating a light show that could be seen from space, a beacon of hope for a future where differences didn't divide, but made everything more beautiful.